Hi there. This video has been created to walk you through the syllabus for our class College Core. So we scroll down. In your particular class, you will see what trimester it's offered, what Zoom number your particular class meets in, your meeting times, your professor's name, and your professor's email. Here you can read a description of the course, helping you know what this course is designed to help you do. It's designed to help you understand your personal calling, to help you understand spiritual formation, to help you with study skills, library use, time management, presentation skills, and our program goals at SUM will be introduced. It is going to introduce students who take this class to the foundations for written communication, information literacy, oral communication, quantitative reasoning, and critical thinking skills. This course is a prerequisite for college writing. You should not be taking College Core and college writing together. The program level outcome for this class is when students leave this class, they will be able to integrate theology of spiritual formation and church leadership principles within the fivefold ministry practices at the introductory level. The course level outcomes. In this class, when you're finished, we want you to be able to write a personal budget and schedule. We want you to be able to integrate a personal ministry calling with practical ministry opportunities for spiritual formation. We want you to incorporate elements of the fivefold ministry practice into an oral presentation. We want you to effectively use SUM's online library resources. We want you to be able to have a review of the 5 program learning outcomes. And we want to help you incorporate effective study skills into your daily routine. Within this class, there are 5 core competencies that will be supported: written communication, oral communication, information literacy, critical thinking, and quantitative reasoning. The required textbook, of course, at SUM, we are a Bible college. The Bible is very important to us, so we want to make sure that you have a Bible available when you are participating in this class. The neat thing about this class is that we have an online free book that you can use with this particular class. You simply click on that and it will take you right to the College Success book, and you can just scroll down there on your screen and you'll be able to read just anything that's assigned to you to read. It's a really good book. We're very happy that we were able to offer this book for free. The chapters you don't necessarily read in this order, so pay attention to what the syllabus says about what you're supposed to be reading. Let's go back into the syllabus, make it big again for you. I highly recommend that you get the 9th edition of the Turabian book. You're going to be using it in this class and in other classes. There are several assignments due for this class. You will write a personal calling paper that's 2 to 3 pages long, and it will identify and describe your own personal call to ministry. You're going to make a personal budget for this class. You're going to do a library assignment showing us that you understand how to use the library. Of course, we'll teach you in a class how to use the library. You don't have to do that on your own. You will do an oral presentation where you're going to specifically share about an aspect of the fivefold ministry. You're going to do a study skills assignment after we teach you about study skills. And every time you come to class, you will do some in-class activities that support the lecture and support whatever the professor has shared with you that day, whatever you've read to prepare for class. We also have some asynchronous activities. You will watch some videos and you will engage in discussion boards, and you'll do these discussion boards in weeks 1 through 10. And then every week you will do a reading response. You have assigned reading to do outside of class, and you'll do a reading response and you'll post that to Canvas. Your course grading. This shows you what percentage of your grade the different parts of this class are worth. Your personal calling paper is 10% of your grade. Your budget's 10%. Library assignment 10%. Oral presentation 10%. Study skills is 10%. In-class activities 20%. So you'll want to make sure that you're present for every class so you can get the maximum percentage points. Your asynchronous activities, your discussion board, also worth 20%. So we encourage you, make sure that you participate in all the weekly discussion boards, and then your reading responses are worth 10%. This is an outline of what we will be doing in this college class every time we get together. You can see here that in week 1 that your professor talked about integrating personal life, school, job, and ministry. You didn't have any required readings for that class. Any assignments that you did while you were in class. Week 2, this is the topic we'll be talking about. This is what you should read before you come to class. And any assignments you do, you'll do in class. Week 3, we will be learning about time management and personal budgets. You'll read this chapter. You will post this assignment. Your personal calling paper is due on the 3rd week. Now, I'm not going to give you an exact date because this video is being watched by many students in many different time periods that take this class, but your professor will tell you what time and what date your personal calling paper is due. When we come to week 4, we will learn about writing with integrity. You'll read this chapter, and this is the week you'll turn your budget in. On this week, we'll look at library use. You'll read this chapter. Anything that we do in class is what you'll turn in that day. We will talk about servant of all in week 6, and we'll also talk about how to give oral presentations. You'll read this chapter. You have a library assignment that's due. So these assignments in red, these are assignments that you're doing outside of class. These are homework assignments. Week 7, you will do your oral presentation. You'll read this chapter, and then obviously if you're doing your oral presentation, that's the week that it's due. This week you're looking at study skills. This is the chapter that you read. Anything that you do in class will be due that day. Week 9, we'll look at practical ministry, and we'll be reading chapter 10. You're reading chapter 10, just part of chapter 10, 10.1 through 10.6. That's the only part of that chapter that you need to read. Your study skills assignment is due that day. Then we almost finished with the trimester. We are going to be looking at our program learning outcomes, the what and the why. This is the chapter that you need to read. Anything due in class that you actually physically do while you're in class is due that day. And then our very last week, where to go from here as a successful college student. You're going to be reading chapter 2, and then anything that you do in class, you'll post that day. We have our SUM Creed. Everybody at SUM is committed to learn, ready to honor, equipped to engage, eager to grow, and determined to finish. This equipped to engage, this is our job as your professor, is to help you be equipped to engage. It is our hope you're going to use the classes you take at SUM to change the world and to win lots of people into God's kingdom. Here is the grading scale at SUM. Here is our late assignment and papers policy. Unless you are in the hospital or there's been some sort of natural disaster, you are expected to turn in everything on time when your professor says to turn it in on time. If you feel like you've got a really extraordinary circumstance and you need to ask for special permission to turn something in late, you have to submit sum.edu forms, and it's a pretty complicated form. You have to be very detailed and explain exactly why you think you need special permission to turn something in late. Plagiarism and cheating policy. Here's the deal at SUM. This class is going to help you learn about how not to plagiarize and how not to cheat. If you make a mistake, whether it's an on-purpose mistake or an accidental mistake, all professors at SUM will note that, and they will give you the opportunity to redo the mistake. You will also be required to take a Canvas class about plagiarism and pass a quiz on that. After you do that, you should never have any issues with plagiarizing again. But if you do, these are the consequences. And you can see that the more students engage in the sinful act of plagiarism and cheating, the harsher the consequences become. You can ultimately get removed from SUM. So we don't want you to be removed from SUM, so don't plagiarize. Attendance policy. Every time that we have class, you need to be in class. You need to be prepared to go with what we're doing. If you miss 25% or more of any classes at SUM, including this class, you will automatically be dropped from the class. Please note that you are not to you can't have any kind of excused absence unless, you know, there's extraordinary circumstances. If you're serving officiating at a funeral, something like that. If you are sick, then you just miss a class. So make sure that you are present as much as possible. Make sure that you have your cameras on the entire time during class so you can get complete class credit. We never, ever want to see a student driving a car and trying to take a class. We don't want to see you in cars at all. We need your full and undivided attention. We don't want you walking around, riding boats, riding airplanes. You need to be in a physical location that's safe for you. We don't want you visibly engaged in other activities or talking to other people outside of what's happening in the Zoom room. I know many of you are in cohort rooms and maybe they're taking a break in a different time than you are. Do your professor the respect of giving your professor your full attention so that he or she can give you his or her full attention too. If for some reason the professor does not come to your Zoom room after 20 minutes, it means there's a pretty big problem where they are and you can leave. Be sure to email the professor and respond to emails explaining how they're going to make up that time. That hardly ever happens, but just in case. When you're in the digital classroom, you need to pretend that you are visiting a real school with walls, and if you don't bring your dog into a school, then you don't bring your dog into your class. If you don't bring your children to your school, you don't bring your children to your class. These are real academic classes, and it can be very distracting to other students when you bring guests or pets, or if you're busy eating and you're smacking your lips together while you're enjoying your lunch. It's just gross, so just be respectful. The College Handbook is always in place. We have the American with Disabilities Act compliance. If you have a learning disability or a physical disability, there is a form you can fill out at SUM so that we can offer you any of the support that you need. I do encourage you, talk to your cohort advisor, talk to your professors, fill this form out. If we don't know, we can't help you. Here's a note, and while this is written by me, this goes for all professors. If you have questions about the class, if you have comments about the class, if you have concerns at any time this trimester, contact the professor. It is our job to help you out. If you let us know in week 1 that you need some help with something, it's so much better than to let us know in week 11. Week 11, it's really too late for us to give you the help that you might need. As we scroll down, we see our course hour estimates. We see that you will be required to be in class for 45 hours. We will give you 33 hours of instruction. We will do 12 asynchronous hours. This is part of that 12 asynchronous hours, watching this video. And we anticipate it's going to take you about 30 hours to do your textbook reading, about 10 hours to do your oral presentation construction. We think it's going to take about 15 hours to do your textbook reading responses, about 6 hours to do your study skills assignment, your personal calling paper. We think it'll take about 6 hours, the library assignment about 6 hours, and then the research that you'll be doing for your oral presentation, we anticipate about 10 hours. And then for the budget that you're doing, we think it'll take about 7 hours, which is a total of 90 hours. So these are things that are happening outside of class, and this is also happening outside of class. That's it. Sorry, didn't mean to make you dizzy. That is the introduction to the syllabus for the course College Core. God bless you. I hope you guys have a fantastic trimester.